Welcome back to the Phoenix Smite League. It's a game from the Premier Division, Chicken Thigh Saviours versus Pavilion eSports. My name is Eman F-Man. We're joined by Majin, one of our wonderful players on the camera. And we have ourselves quite a fun game incoming. Over on Team Chicken Thigh Saviours, we've got Thigh Savior 7. That's right. Thigh or Thigh. Well, I'll leave that up to your decision. Not a Valve game. Bamf, Mictlan, 666, and Vessel of Satan. Pavilion eSports lineup. Malicious Intent, Ninja Rex, Vidrell, Caxatam, and Tripno. First bands coming in, it's Chunga and Kabrakan, and we've seen incredible shifts in the meta lately, especially as a result of new item changes or god changes, but it's really cool how we've seen our unique little meta develop inside our own league, which is so vastly different from the NA meta or the EU meta, whatever you've been seeing, watching the Smite Masters LAN over the past 3 days. RIP NA. But we do have a wonderful NA game for you this time. Susano locked in for Pavilion. Make that Chicken Thigh Saviours. And over for Pavilion, they've locked in Poseidon. And they're hovering somebody. It's Raven. Yes. Raven has been so prevalent after the god changes this past patch, where we've seen him do amazing things, especially in the jungle. Yeah, imagine the shock when I saw that in my ranked game for the first time. But the other bans were Hunbats and Kernanos. No surprises there, especially seeing what amazing things Kaxutem can do on the Hunbats. So, those being the choices to get locked in, the next couple of picks are going to be going over to Chicken Thigh, and Hades is getting hovered, as well as, that's going to be for not a Valve game, as well as, well, we'll see in just a moment here. But I did want to mention here that this Raven jungle, I think it's so spicy, and I love seeing it, and I want to see more of it, or at least change Raven to make him back into a warrior, because right now, well, he's a lot of fun to deal with, and I'm sure we'll see what he's going to be like throughout the game. Of course, I'm not here to spoil anything. I'm here to bring it to you. Bamf is going to be taking his time on the selection here, and he's going to pick up Scotty for Mictlan, 666, the ADC for Chicken Thigh Saviours. So, yes, by the way, I do know what Bamf stands for, but I'm going to keep calling him Bamf. It's almost like that city in Alberta. It's a nice place, I promise. Nonetheless, the last pick before the second set of bans going to be going in just a moment, and hovering Ram. And it is going to be locked in. That's going for Ninja Rex, the ADC of Pavilion eSports. And I like seeing Rama. Rama's always been in a very strong position. I've never seen someone tell me, you know, I think Rama's just a little bit weak right now. I've always found him at the forefront. And I mean, who doesn't like to see those amazing, sexy snipes? Whether it's a la Germain or a la Marvels or any other classic Rama player. Rama has always been amazing, and the display of skill you can get from someone who's a very good Rama is always a real pleasure to watch. Sylvanas is going to be the next ban out of Pavilion eSports, which is a little bit of a surprise, but only a little bit considering we know how high of a skill floor Sylvanas has, and the response is to ban Kepri. That is a very smart choice. We've seen Malicious Intense Kepri before, and we know how strong it can be. Hercules! Well, that's a pretty strong ban. Hercules wasn't ever really touched after his significant round of buffs, and it makes him quite a nuisance to deal with in the solo lane, so no surprise there that it's been banned, but that means that the next pick is going over to Pavilion eSports now that all the gods that should be taken off the table have been taken off the table, and it leaves open some interesting choices. It leaves open stuff like the Morrigan, it leaves open stuff like Cupid. Well, I mean, we already have Rama picked up, but basically things that can synergize really well with this Poseidon. I'm going to be very interested to see what this choice is going to be, because you can do a lot to make it work. After all, like I said, you could put Raven in the jungle, and that leaves open the choice of solo laner to something that could be very spicy. Bacchus is going to be picked up for Malicious Intent there, and the Bacchus is very good, especially to go with the Kraken. Most people will just want to beads the Whirlpool so that they can dodge the Kraken instead of having to use an Aegis, but Bacchus with the big belly flop means you're not dodging any Krakens anytime soon. Very, very, very good choice. I like it a lot. It synergizes really well with the mid lane. We're going to see if they're going to be able to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Chicken Thigh is going to be picking up Janus for their mid laner Banff. And that leaves the last god to be picked up for them in the support role, a Guardian. We're going to see what they choose. Fafnir. So Fafnir hasn't been something we've seen very often, but we know that he's been strong consistently, especially since he can bring so much damage. In fact, even at Master's Land, I know, forgive me saying we stray on a meta so different from what we see in the professional Smite, but I mean, Fafnir has been seeing a lot of strength, especially at LAN, and I think it's going to be really cool to see what they can do here, especially with the synergy you can get from a Hades Fafnir ult, stuff like that, where people are really trying to get away. Everyone could be all grouped up just perfectly. Like, all of these ultimates here have these extremely big circles, with the exception of probably, I mean, Skadi and Janus, but even Skadi you could say is a circle somewhat. And to see this giant combo of a Susanoo Typhoon into a Fafnir ultimate into a Hades ultimate, it looks like it could just be absolutely deadly. So, based off of these picks here, I want to say I give this to Chicken Thigh. We've seen them do so well, but the spicy Raven jungle might just be something that's a little bit too difficult for them to deal with. We'll see. Right now, let's get into the match. And let's get this game started. Yep. Yes. And the players are loading in. Let's get started here. So we've seen shifts in the meta, but there haven't been many major changes in terms of how the meta has evolved lately. So I'd love to see exactly what happens with the starts, because you can do some pretty crazy stuff, especially considering the level 1 out of Susanoo is so good, especially considering how great level 1 fighting can be from other characters such as Janus or Fafnir. Give us a moment, our cameraman's experiencing a little bit of a bug. You should... I'd say restart your game, but... What a brilliant game, Hi-Res. What a brilliant game. Majin, press the star on your numpad. And then... try pressing the... Minions have oh gosh, I know the stream can hear me. Wait. Tab? Hold left alt. Or spacebar. Spacebar. Still not working? You got it? Awesome. Thanks, Hi-Res. Minions have spawned. And we're gonna be getting into it. The level 1 fight in mid lane. Looks like it's going slightly in the advantage here of Pavilion. They get the nice push, but the health is falling for Kaksutime. He is going to get out just fine, but beautiful out push on the left side from Pavilion. They're going to be going straight for the purple buff. It looks like they started Smalls, Chicken Thigh, or it was just the Skadi who started the Smalls in the jungle, and that's going to be strange. Over on the right side, blue buff invade. It's going to be going just fine. It looks like the Smalls were taken away by Chicken Thigh, but they weren't able to secure the full-size blue buff. But that's no matter. Kaksutime's finally rotating over to the right side. Going to be able to assist. Actually, not a Valve game. He's in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he's forgotten that Hades isn't so strong and tanky as he used to be. Now the invade's going in onto the red buff. And Vessel of Satan and Bamf are just going to have to watch. Unfortunately, they can't do anything except for try and snipe it away. Oh, and they actually do, securing their own red buff, so a failed attempt on the invade there. Meanwhile, Scotty got to clear an extra wave. She's hit level 3 early and is going to pick up the red buff, so very strong push power there. However, on the right side, that lane getting pushed in means that Chicken Thigh have the pressure only on one side of the map. And for sure, Thigh Savior needs to be very careful on helping out his squishy mage in the right lane. Very interesting to see solo lane mage. It's not very usual, especially considering we have 2 warriors on the enemy team in the form of Kaxutam and Vidrell. So we're gonna see how that works out for them. It's very strange to see mage in the solo, but I digress. It looks like the Oracles go the way of Pavilion, which is going to give them a small advantage. They have the vision control, and this Scotty, who can push a little bit because Mictlan's got the red buff, is going to be okay somewhat. Bamf is in a little bit of trouble, though. Hold on. He's going to be saved by the meditation out of Vessel of Satan. Kaxutam's going to be going in, but he's going to get out. Bamf just barely surviving. Raven bringing so much control. So strange to see from the jungle like we thought we would. And, imagine, I don't think you ever took it off the technical difficulty screen. Soloed. Not a Valve game. Mage in the solo lane. Would you look at that? Ain't that convenient? And so, there's the first kill for the Hades, and that's something you want to see in that right lane. I mean, I was doubting the mage, but I don't think I can doubt the mage much longer. He's going to be doing quite a bit of damage now, and you don't want to let a mage get ahead in solo. So, Scotty on the left side, still got the red buff, out pushing the Rama. Very good for Chicken Thigh Saviors. On the right side, you've got not a Valve game. He's completely pressuring out Vidrell. Also very good for Chicken Thigh Saviors. Over in the mid lane, that means that Thigh Savior is actually able to help keep Bamf afloat, because he is slightly behind his opposition. In fact, more than slightly. Poseidon has 2 levels on him. But, you know, I'm not too upset about that if I have pressure in the other 2 lanes. So Chicken Thigh, overall looking up, and the graphs say to 600 gold. It's an advantage, but not necessarily one that's tangible just yet. But that means they're playing their start a little bit better than the opposition, and that's good news for them. Meanwhile, on the right side, it looks like an attempted gank onto not a Valve game. He's going to get out just fine. And it looks like Ninja Rex, he's going to try for a cheeky buff steal, but there it is. The through space and time goes in. Bamf walks into some portal. Whoopsie, that'll be a missed opportunity, and Ninja Rex is going to get out just fine as a result of that mistake. So, a waste of a Yana Assault? Maybe not necessarily. The purple buff is going to be secured by Chicken Thigh, so perhaps it might not have been the best way to use it, but certainly it got them to achieve the objective that they were going for. Meanwhile, not a Valve game is going to be caught out by the Raven on his way back to lane, and Kaxutam's really pressuring him out. Tripno and Vidrell are, well, there's this 4-man grouping here. They're looking for a speed buff invade. Meanwhile, Chicken Thigh, they're nowhere near because they went to 4-man confirm their own red buff. Not a Valve game can only sit and watch as the speed buff is taken away. Tripno's going to be back into base. It looks like they want to invade Not a Valve Game's blue as well. And again, he can do nothing but sit and watch as this is a 4-man rotate. But Chicken Thigh, they're realizing this, that there's 4 on the right side, and they're going for a very smart call. Immediately go on the Gold Fury. That's what you should do when you notice that the enemy is nowhere near. Ninja Rex sees what's happening. The team is all rotating in. They have to leash because now the whole team has arrived. The snipes are going to be completely useless. Mictlan's going to be using the alt permafrost. Thigh Savior picks them up. Kaxutam gets Mictlan. The Kraken, though, and Malicious Intent is going to take out Vessel of Satan. It's 2 for 1, and it looks like not a good enough commit. Bamf is going to bail his teammate out. But 2 for 1, not worth for the Oracles, and really nothing else. And in fact, Pavilion, they're looking to start the Gold Fury in response, as Kaxutam's there on zone duty. Is there anything Bamf can do around the side here? Up into the ultimate goes Vidrell. Extra confirmed damage because the Kraken's already down, but Pavilion are going to get it. The through space and time was just a little bit too late. How unfortunate from Bamf, and that is going to be a free Gold Fury for Pavilion after Chicken Thigh just seemed to accidentally not commit hard enough and commit too late. They should have been a little bit more immediate on that call, but nonetheless, 600 gold advantage, and that's all for this team. Pavilion going up against Chicken Thigh. So 6 minutes in and the kills now show 2-2, and basically the gold is even, but what's important to note is that the XP is in a pretty noticeable advantage for Pavilion, which means that although you might say 600 gold isn't quite an advantage, if you want to look at it in terms of levels, you have 1 level advantage for the solo laner in terms of Chicken Thigh. But you have... Oh, hold that thought. It looks like Tripno's in a little bit of trouble. He is going to get out. He is going to get out. And looks like nothing else going to be of consequence, even though Malicious Intent has a little bit of questionable positioning. And actually, they're going to be going in on it? Very strange commit there on the mid lane, but meanwhile, some flares going up onto Not a Valve Game, who's still got the level lead onto Vidrell. He's going to try and take a little bit of a boxing match, surprisingly enough. It seems like the solo lane slap fight shouldn't exactly apply to you if you're a mage, but nonetheless, that call is going to be to no consequence. So, no harm, no foul. But as I was saying earlier, with this XP lead, you have 1 level lead in the solo laner. But then if you look at the jungle, you have 1 level lead for the Raven. Hold that thought. Scotty's going in. There's the ultimate onto Ninja Rex, and he's going to back off. Rama's such a good counter to Scotty. Fight's going to be going on the right side. Bamf is now in a little bit of trouble as they full commit. Malicious Intent's going to be picking it up. And Saviours now in a bunch of trouble as well. Vidrell's credited for that kill. Not a Valve Game goes into the ultimate, but it's not really going to do much. The Kraken's going to completely burst down Vessel of Satan, and Vidrell's credited with the double kill. Not a Valve Game's running for his life. Can he get over the wall? He can. But 4 men strong and a stolen speed buff too for Kaxidam. Win. 2-0. And Pavilion are now finally in a visible advantage, and this is what I was saying from before. It comes down to the fact that you can see the level lead in the jungler, which is now ascended to a 2-level lead. Level lead in the support now, and you have 3 levels in the mid laner. Poseidon might be 0, 0, and 5, but he's farming a lot better than Bamf, who really is having a hard time keeping up. In fact, being behind his own support is Chicken Thigh's mid laner, so that's not looking too good for him, and he's really got to do something to fix that if he needs to make a comeback into relevance. And Not a Valve Game, he's going to try and defend that right tower, but down it goes. Not really too much he can do. Vidrell just going to poke him out, and he's going to have to back away, being a not-so-tanky Hades anymore, thanks to those changes. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Ninja Rex, he's in a little bit of trouble. Saviours is going to be going in on him, and down he goes. An easy, quick, clean gank from an overextended ADC. I know that all too well. Feels bad, man, and that's going to be a nice pickup for the jungler. He's doing his best to stay on par with this Raven. Raven being 104, Susano 210. So they're relatively close now, but he needed that kill in order to get back into it. So very good. He took the opportunity, but really, nothing's being done to help out the mid laner from Chicken Thigh, and if that's not solved very soon, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They've shrunk that 3 levels to 2 levels now, but the lead is still there, and this Poseidon's Krakens are doing so much more than we've seen it through space and times, at least throughout the course of the first 10 minutes of this game. So, we're coming up onto 10 minutes, and it looks like there's a little bit of pressure trying to be applied in mid lane here. Saviours going to pull in Tripno. He's going to be using the bees, actually, through space and time, off the mark, and the Typhoon, it does hit, but it's just not enough. So close. The rotation comes from Kaxidam. Vessel of Satan, he's left alone by his team, but he's going to be just fine getting away, as that Raven doesn't have a Frostbound hammer for them to worry about. Vidrell positioned very aggressively in the mid lane here. They're looking out at Bamf. Being level 8, he's a relatively easy target, so he needs to be very careful. Vessel of Satan's got to keep his eye on that. As Not a Valve Game is going to be just boxing out with Vidrell. These solo laners are very big right now. When you see here, level 12 on this Hades at 10 minutes, you know that's kind of terrifying. Letting that mage free farm, not ganking him, it's a little bit of a mistake from Pavilion. If they don't keep him down, he's all of a sudden going to hurt a lot more than people realize. However, Kaxidam being level 11 in the jungle means that Susano's got to do even more work to keep up. And now, drama pressure from the left side. It looks like they want to start a fight on the Gold Fury, and that's what's going to happen. All the ultimates go in. There's the Kraken. Tripno is going to be picking up one, but he gets traded by Vessel of Satan. The Drell's going to be the next focus. Not a Valve Games around the corner, but now Ninja Rex has joined the party. He's going to be using the Beast to make sure he doesn't fall through the portal. But there's the Beast from Miklan as well, who's in a lot of trouble. He's going to be getting out just fine, but Vessel of Satan, he's going to have to be forced to escape stage down. Not a Valve Game. He's left all alone. The snipes come in. The Drell picks up the killing spree. And that is 2 for 1. And now Pavilion, they're going to be going in on the Gold Fury. So a very good play out of them. The disengage came too early from Chicken Thigh, and unfortunately their big solo laner couldn't get out. Pavilion take the Gold Fury. Vessel of Satan fails the steal, and down he goes. Ninja Rex credited for that kill, giving away his life, I think, a little bit unnecessarily. So, backing to base, Pavilion is going to be filling up their inventories with the next round of items. We've seen a lot of interesting pickups, but for some reason, Malicious Intent has picked up a third starter item, Mark of the Vanguard. Interesting call, I will say, considering you don't exactly have much dot damage coming out of Chicken Thigh. I mean, you have Bluestones, but I'd still say that's moderately questionable. Nonetheless, it looks like Miklan is flaring something. No, it was Ninja Rex flaring out the ward that Miklan had put down. So Miklan is taking good care of himself, and it's good because I like to see the ADCs in their current state with that solo lane. But Kaxutam, he's in a little bit of trouble. He just got a little bit out of position into a 4-man grouping, and this is important for Bemph to make the comeback. He needs the assists as much as he can get them. Now Ninja Rex has rotated into the mid lane. Another fight's going to be starting, and now Malicious Intent, he's going into Kraken. It does so much damage. Tripno picks up the double kill, and Thy Savior, is he going to be able to get out? Just barely. No! Ninja Rex snipes him out. Blessed by Marvels. Down he goes, and that's clean. 3-4-0 for Pavilion, and that's going to be looking really good for them as they're going to start up the Portal Demon. It's going to be taken away by Pavilion eSports. A very valiant attempt by Miklan to steal it, but not going to be good enough. Banff is in a little bit of trouble. They're going to full commit under the tower, and down he goes. He can't even get into his portal. Goodbye, little Janus. See you later. A little bit of messy positioning out of him, and you'd think as a Janus, positioning shouldn't be a huge issue, but nonetheless, down goes the middle tier 1 tower, and they're looking at pressuring the tier 2, and there's not too much Vessel of Satan can do to defend this with a 5-man strong grouping, but no, they're going to instead move over to the left side, and Kaxutam was left all alone by his team, and whoopsie daisies, down he goes. Very important kill for Chicken Thigh to make sure that that Raven is kept down. Susano now 3-3-2. He's on par with that jungler still, so he's very dangerous looking. And in fact, this is a brilliant call. Get that tier 1 middle in response. There's not too much Pavilion can do. Hold that thought. Never mind. The Whirlpool is great. Vessel of Satan is destroyed. Not a Valve Game is going to go to the ultimate as well. The immunity frames. He's actually going to survive through space and time. Not a Valve Game escapes stage right. And it looks like a beautiful disengage. Thank goodness Chicken Thigh didn't overcommit to that one. Very, very well played. Very good play from Chicken Thigh to recognize that perhaps the 5-man defense, even if they're all half out, might not be so good. But hold on, the full commit goes in as well. The Kraken, the snipes. Thy Savior picks up Tripno though this time. Vidrell's gonna fall as well to the Susano. He's now 5-3-2, and he wants more. Ninja Rex is in a little bit of trouble. He's gonna be forced to use the bees out of the portal. Miklan is taking a lot of damage. Not a Valve Game's going in. Kaxutam picks up Thy Savior on the back line though. And that's going to be a runaway Hades. No, the Sunder! Double kill for Kaxutam. Absolutely well done. Miklan's going to use the Aegis. So is Kaxutam. He's actually going to fall into the portal. But Banff doesn't have nearly enough damage to deal with this tanky Raven. I mean, naturally tanky. Not that he's built tanky. But he's level 14. He's not going down anytime soon. So really well played by Pavilion. On the counter engage. Even though they were all low health, recognizing what they can do with that low health and selecting their targets properly is what allowed them to pick up those kills. Although they did trade for it, already you can tell the advantage. 5,000 gold for Pavilion, and it's not looking like that's going to slow down anytime soon. Team's going to pull back and reset, and I like this choice of itemization from Vessel of Satan. even though he's down level 10, 2 levels against the enemy support is really not such a big deal. Because you see the reinforced Greaves, and that's fine. You see the Watcher's Gift, that's fine. You see that he's also picked up the Sovereignty, which is so important. When so much damage is coming out of Kaxutam and Ninja Rex and Vidrell, because of the fact that he's building Ravan with the jungle builds, which means he's got the pen online early, having this Sovereignty is really good to help his team survive in those fights and at least pick off the trades like they've been doing in most of the engagements. But Malicious Intent, hold that thought. On the right side, it looks like there's a teleport coming in. Questionable. That teleport's actually going to go over to the Gold Fury. Bamf is going to be engaged on, but he's going to slip away. A slippery Janus going through that portal. Very, very good for him because he needs to look out. He is very weak. Level 11, 3 down at 17 minutes. He's having a lot of trouble getting the farm he needs. And he's been spending so much time bailing out his teammates. Nice Savior. He's going to try and get away. The Kraken completely whiffed. Not a Valve game. He's going to be going into the ultimate as well. And it looks like it's not going to be to any consequence either. Vidrell's going to go into Colossal Fury, but Vessel of Satan wants to keep going. Ninja Rex showing up. He's going to discourage the Ice Saviors, but there it is. 5 groups strong in the middle versus 5 groups strong, and Malicious Intent goes into the counter engage. Vessel of Satan, he's caught in the whirlpool. He can't get out anywhere. Tripno's going to be picking him up. The Typhoon does a lot of damage, but Pavilion's going to back up and reset the shell. Very, very good for them. Very well played out of Pavilion, being able to take 1 for free on the counter engage, recognizing that Fafnir could not get out with that whirlpool. Not a Valve game. He's going to be caught up by Kaxutam, and he's going to go down to the snipe. The Sunder, Kaxutam picks up not a Valve game, so 2-4-0. Oh my god, the through space and time does so much damage, and Thigh Savior's going to pick up Tripno. Very well played out of Bamf. Get in, get out, do the damage. That's what Ayatos needs to do. Very, very well played. Well, that's a very good trade for them, man. Every trade is going to be worth for them while they're behind so far, but with the goal difference now being 7,000 in the favor of Pavilion, it looks like it's just bleeding out for Chicken Thigh Saviors. 18 minutes in, and your Janus mid lane is still level 11. That's not good news. He hasn't been getting the farm that he needs, and being this far down, it just looks like he hasn't had the impact that he's supposed to. Looking at the player damage, he is second there underneath. I mean, to be fair, the enemy Bacchus is a Bacchus, and so he's doing even more damage than their solo laner. But for Chicken Thigh, it seems like they don't have enough presence in that mid lane. So that's what they need in order to get back in this. It's all about making sure that you make your ADC more relevant in doing the damage. And sure, you can use Janus from behind his utility mage, but the fact of the matter is, when he needs to do damage with a through space and time, he does need to do the damage. And thankfully, we did see that change, but it's got to be a little bit more prevalent than that. So far, he's not having the best game. 0-2-5, I mean, it's okay for a Janus, but being the same level as your support at 19 minutes, maybe not so much. Now the engagement is going to go in again on the mid lane. Malicious Intent's looking in, but that means Tripno's all alone. Thigh Savior's going in on behind. He's going to use the Typhoon, fire it off, gets the knockup. The Kraken is going to be released as well, but Vessel of Satan's continuing the chase. Malicious Intent is trying so hard to get to his teammates, but the snipes coming in, and Miklan's going to go down to Malicious Intent. Bacchus is on a killing spree. How often do you hear that? Kaxutam is going to be taking a lot of damage from the Thigh Savior, but there goes the Intoxicate. Thigh Savior is trying to juke around, and now the fight's going to continue. That's so hectic. Everyone's all over the place, but Ninja Rex is going to the back line. He's going to try and take out Thigh Savior on the back. Can you hit the autos? Doesn't matter. Vidrell's got it. And meanwhile, the rest of the team is disengaged. So, a clean 2 kills for Pavilion, and it looks like the bleeding out for Chicken Thigh is just going to continue. That means it's time for Pavilion to put on the gas pedal. Down goes the tier 1 tower on the left side, and they're probably going to pressure in the tier 2. 4 men strong. Meanwhile, the tier 1 in mid's gonna fall. Not able to be defended by Tripno, but that's okay. Tripno stayed alive, and that's all he had to do when Chicken Thigh went on him, and boom! Killing spree for Ninja Rex, not a Valve game. Teleports into the tower to his death. Tier 2 falls on the left side. A little bit of a questionable call, but I think at this point there isn't too much of the game left to go. 9,900 gold remaining. Sorry, 9,900 gold advantage for Pavilion eSports, and they're on top of the world right now. They've got the ward control all over the map. They are probably looking at Fire Giant next. They're going to spend all the gold they just got from all those kills and the towers, and indeed, we see some end game items coming online. Poseidon gets Fatalis, Raven has a Spirit Robe, and Malicious Intents picked up a Mail of Renewal. That's a really good choice considering he's 3-0-13. That's going to be proccing quite a bit. I like it. I really do like the call, and I noticed that he's also sold one of his starter items as well. He's looking into a Heart Ward, I assume. It's looking pretty good for them. Meanwhile, over by the Fire Giant pit, looks like Portal Demon's going to be started. Absolutely nobody there to contest. So that's a free portal for Pavilion, and things are just looking great for them. They don't even want to go for the Fire Giant. They want to go straight for the fight. Vessel of Satan. No, Bamf is the target. Coxatem's going in deep. He's going to have to portal himself out. And Malicious Intent's going in. Not a Valve Game's going to silence him out. But beautifully placed Typhoon is going to keep his team alive. Not a Valve Game. He's going to die very quickly. Malicious Intent's credited for that kill. The Snipes coming in. And Bamf is actually going to pick up the Drell, who is in the Colossal Fury. But the beautiful two-man Kraken and the double kill for Malicious Intent. Coxatem's going to pick up Miklan. It looks like this is it. By Savior and Bamf are forced to escape up towards the solo lane, and the chase is on as well from Ninja Rex. Nice Savior is actually gonna come so close to picking up the kill. Meanwhile, Tripno picks up Bamf. Ninja Rex was forced to use the Aegis there, but well, the only one alive is gonna be Thigh Savior, and he's going to have to back away. And it looks like this impact from these Poseidon Krakens are just unreal. Of course, not to diminish the impact of Raven as well, but this is going to be a free Fire Giant for Pavilion with literally nobody to defend it. And I really like to see here what Pavilion are doing. It's making use of whoever is not being focused. When they go on to Tripno, it's Coxatem and Ninja Rex that are making the difference. When they're going in onto the Raven, it's going to be Tripno on the Poseidon who just goes and Krakens everybody. So much impact, especially coming from this Poseidon, that I think Chicken Thigh really do need to focus on the Poseidon while also keeping the peel, but it's really hard to peel from a Raven's damage regardless. So, everyone's going to reset the Fire Giant on 4 members of Pavilion eSports, and it doesn't look like there's too much of this game left. It looks like all Pavilion needs to do is just go ahead and push one more time right down mid lane. 23 minutes in, and I can say that this game will probably end in just 2 more. The wards are so far in advantage of Pavilion. Looking at the aggressive placement, I like the one up by the speed buff, so you know if someone's there who's going to try and hurt you. And sure, you have some sentries placed up around the mid lane, but I think that's the incorrect placement here, and it looks like not a Valve Game. Sorry, it looks like Chicken Thigh themselves are going to have to concede the tier 2 tower in mid. Nothing they can really do to defend that. And 5 men strong are pouring in. They're looking at the base of Chicken Thigh. They're actually going to go over and clean up the tier 2 on the right side. It's a good call. It's a pretty good call. You can go ahead and make sure that you're diminishing the protections on that Titan by as much as you can, by taking out as many objectives across the field as you can. And also, it also gives your team a bit of extra gold, a bit of extra experience as well. Maybe help level up that Bacchus past 16. Who knows? It's probably not that necessary. And indeed, it looks like they're going to be going right in on the right side. Into the sky goes Ninja Rex. The shells popped. Here comes the engage. The snipes are completely off the mark, but who needs marbles when your team is fed as hell? Miklan's going to get completely bursted by the Bacchus. I never thought I'd say that one. Tripno, he's totally fine dropping that Kraken, and he's going to stay alive. They're going to burst him out of Valve Game as he goes into his Pillar of Agony in the final attempt. The final stand. It's not going to be worth anything. The double kill for Ninja Rex. Thigh Savior, the only one left alive, and they're just going to chase him down for the easy kill. And Tripno's going to be able to pick him up. Actually, Ninja Rex is going to pick up the Dia side. And that's going to be the end of game 1. Chicken Thigh defeated by Pavilion in the Vidra with the BM teleport. And there it is. Very well done from Pavilion. That's their first game in this set of 2, so stay tuned. We'll be right back for game 2 in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's game 2 of a Chicken Thigh Saviours versus Pavilion eSports. In game 1, we saw something quite decisive. We saw a few things. The first one is that Robin was making such a good impact in the jungle. The second one was that we saw not enough coming out of the Janus. If we see this fixed, I think Chicken Thigh is going to be able to turn it around for the second game. And well, as I said, take a look at the first ban coming out of Chicken Thigh. It is indeed the Raven. So, are they going to be able to keep down Kakusutan? We will see. The bans Kurnanos and Kabrakan out of Pavilion, same as before, no surprise there. And the Chunga ban as well. Chunga has been known to be a major frustration to deal with. So that's certainly no surprise to see taken away. But Susano is going to be picked up this time by Pavilion for their jungler Kakusutan. Very smart choice in my opinion. We saw the huge advantage that Chicken Thigh was able to, well, I guess not advantage, but the huge wins that they were able to pick up. Small ones maybe, but huge impact wins that were really so useful in having that member on the team. So that taken away from Chicken Thigh, from Thigh Savior. We'll see if that's going to be enough for them to maybe push them away. Banff is actually going to be picking up the Poseidon this time, which is also a very good call, making sure that it's out of the hands of the enemy, who is very, very impactful on the Poseidon, like I noted before. Sylvanus is going to be picked up by Chicken Thigh, and that's going to be heading over to Vessel of Satan, the support, which is also a very good call in my opinion, seeing as Sylvanus was banned out last time. Certainly going to be excited. Tripno is going to opt for, he was hovering Thoth, Janus, Isis, Ra, maybe? Malicious Intent is going to be on Bacchus again. I think that's not going to be a surprise. He had a fantastic game. I believe it was, 5-0-19? I think that would be a great pickup for him. Tripno still indecisive, hovering Nuwa. Janus, can he make up his mind? We will see. Thoth? Is it going to be Thoth? Soul? Come on, you can do it, buddy. Perhaps he's just trying to troll me as the caster. We'll see. Nonetheless, all these are very high impact mages. Well, I wouldn't say Soul. Please pick something other than Soul. Please, Tripno, please. Do something bursty, like Poseidon. Well, this time Banff has Poseidon, but do something, I don't know. Yeah, Thoth. Thoth is good. Lock in Thoth. Why don't you? There it is. Tripno's going to be locking in Thoth. Very well done. And Hunbots is going to be hovered for Thigh Savior. He's going to lock it in fact. I like the call. I think it's a very good call. Hunbots, we've seen the impact that Hunbots can have, especially though in terms of zone control between the Whirlpool and the Fear No Evil and Sylvanus' Wrath of Terra. Basically, these giant circles are really going to make things a hard time if Pavilion likes to group up, and it seems like you have to group up if you're comboing with stuff like Bacchus and Susano, because you really have to move in real close. So a very good counter engage from Chicken Thigh. They're going to have to approach their team fights very differently, but I think it can go very well. And the bans coming in this time, Hades. Very surprising. I don't think Hades was too impactful. And Medusa being banned out by Chicken Thigh. Meanwhile, Pavilion are going to choose to ban Rob and Hercules. Leaving, well, let's see what's going to be picked up from Mictlan. It's going to be the Ho Yi. Ho Jesus. I do love me a good Ho Yi. And we've seen all the amazing things that players like Arco can do in Ho Yi and whatever throughout LAN. On her is going to be hovered for Ninja Rex. And Bellona for Vidrell. These are some gods I haven't seen in a while. That would be interesting. But we have seen Nick land on the Hou Yi, and we know he can do so much with it. On her into Hou Yi, I don't think is quite a winning matchup. Guan Yu now hovered for Vidrell. In the solo lane, that's in fact going to be his pick, with the lovely Guan Unicorn skin to join it. Ninja Rex instead is going to hover Xbalanque. Hou Yi, Xbalanque. Thinking. And back to hovering on her. He seems very indecisive about this. Playing into a Hou Yi is fairly difficult. Apollo, yeah, I'd say that's a good matchup into Hou Yi. But the fact of the matter is, Hou Yi is one of those guys that if he hits this combo just right, he'll 100 to 0 you, no problem, and lock you down. But Cupid is gonna be the pickup for Ninja Rex. That's a pretty okay call. Cupid's relatively safe into Hou Yi, so I can agree with this one. Vessel of Satan is going to be hovering over Terra. Yes. And that's going to be lock in. Terra. And I always say, when I see a Terra, damn. Terra, why didn't we ban that? Because Terra has nothing you can play against. No real weakness. Maybe think Jack of all trades, master of none, but Terra's got it all. Nice healing, a global ultimate, excellent mobility, walls, great crowd control, okay damage. In terms of most Guardians, you can have a weakness to play against, but as for Terra, not really too much you can take advantage of, and that's going to be pretty good for them. So, based on this draft entirely, once again, I think I'm going to have to give it to Chicken Thigh. I really love the combo of all these large circles that can come from these ultimates grouped together. And the fact of the matter is, if you are Pavilion and you have to deal with Cupid, you have to deal with Bacchus, Susano, Guan Yu, you really have to get up in their face in order to do anything. And these guys are the perfect things to punish you for getting up in your face. So with that being said, let's go into the match. Hello. I know. All right. Let's get going here. It looks like we've got ourselves the spicy Terra solo. Okay, maybe it's not so spicy anymore, but I do really like to see it. Taking a look at these starts, we've got Terra with Mark of the Vanguard and Mana Chalice. Okay. And that's going to be up against a Guan Yu with Bluestone. That's no surprise there. I question the start of Bluestone Bumbas on this Hun Bats, but I guess it'll do. Looks like we have a small pause. Was that not reported? Question mark. Well, we'll see. Pauses are supposed to be reported so that we can skip over them, but it looks like Thigh Savior had DC'd. Did they not report this pause? Nice. We'll be back soon. And we are back. Sorry for that short little delay. As it looks like Savior had briefly DC, but that is going to be resolved, and the Bluestone Bumbas Bots is going to be back in the game. I tried so hard with the alliteration, I couldn't finish it off. Kaxatam's over on the right side, not a usual start for a jungler, but maybe he's going to try and catch out not a Valve game at level 1 fighting. Meanwhile, it looks like Ninja Rex is going to be starting at the smalls for purple. And Kaxatam is just going to help out his Guan Yu with the clear. Ninja Rex, I don't know if he's going to hit level 2 fast enough because Vessel of Satan and Miklan have both already hit 2 and have the extra wave pressure. Meanwhile, the invade over on the right side, over by these fire elementals, and Bamf, he's going to try so hard to get out. Beautifully placed. Wow, 4 men strong of Pavilion are going to be forced to back away by that beautifully placed whirlpool out of Bamf. That was very well done, and although he was forced to use his beast, he stays alive. He doesn't give up the first blood, and that's really important for him. So 3 members of Pavilion are going to help group up and give Vidrell that blue buff, and they finally all hit level 2. But already the experience advantage is there for Chicken Thigh. And it's quite a bit of an experience advantage. We could be seeing that Kraken come out when at least one of the players on Pavilion is still level 3. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Thoth is pretty far pushed up, and Tripno might be getting punished for this. Thy Savior was thinking about it, but Malicious Intent shows up and they get discouraged. The Oracles go the way of Chicken Thigh, though, since poor Ninja Rex has been left all alone on the left side. And Miklan, while he's been getting sort of babysat by Vessel of Satan, it hasn't been to his detriment whatsoever. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, it looks like not a Valve game. He's going to be continuing the boxing fight with Vidrell, but Vidrell's in a little bit of a funny position here. And, well, he'll be just fine. It looks like not a Valve game decided to play it passive. So, the groupings here are a lot stronger than we saw in the first game. Not a Valve game. Hold on. Vidrell's actually really punishing him. He's going to be just fine, but he's got to be very careful because that Guan Yu does shred you with Tallow Assault, and you don't realize that you start taking more and more and more damage as the Tallow Assault continues because that Bluestone starts hurting more and more as a result of the reduced protections that you have, even though Mark of the Vanguard gives you 10. So Vidrell is playing it very smartly in the solo lane, and so is Chicken Thigh in terms of the duo lane here. While Miklan has been getting babysat, he's got the red buff. Bamf has taken the other red buff. So huge power play for Chicken Thigh in terms of buffs. I mean, they're all buffed up. Miklan's going to be using the beads, and the Fields of Love comes out from Ninja Rex, which was a very questionable choice since now there's an ultimate on Miklan and no answer from Ninja Rex. Well, hold that thought because it looks like the ultimate's going to be used from not a Valve game. For what reason, I'm not too sure, but this is going to be an interesting gank on the left-hand side. Thy Saviours looking around here, and all of a sudden Ninja Rex, there goes his dash. He's going to have to use the beads. It's going to be very well played, but I don't know if there's too much he can do because the team is going in, and beautifully pulled, and goodbye to the Wrath of Terror. Vessel of Satan credited for first blood on Ninja Rex in the left lane. Very well played, and that has to do a lot with the fact that Ninja Rex sort of went in too far, used the dash, and just didn't have the ward coverage. So very well played by Chicken Thigh to pick that up. Now, can you say the lack of ward coverage was at the fault of his support? Not necessarily. It was just a case of him pushing up very aggressively and full committing with the ultimate in a very strange location. And Miklan was able to hold on to his, and even if it wasn't needed for the secure, it would have secured had Vessel of Satan missed that pull. So very well played out of Miklan, and a little bit of a mistake that did cost first blood. So first back's coming through, and we can already see Ho Yi going into the boots after Death's Toll. I've seen some Ho Yis play with Bluestone. Myself, I've always liked to rush Transcendence, but no Transcendence this time. And meanwhile, the Cupid who was thinking about it has instead decided to go for the boots, very smartly so, because no thanks, I'm getting caught out again if I'm a Cupid. And Chicken Thigh, they're going to be able to secure the oracles as well, which is very useful for them, giving them that small advantage. And in terms of golden experience, Chicken Thigh are up by about 500 and 1600 respectively. You can see here this time Banff is not having trouble like he did before in keeping up in terms of levels. In fact, he's actually out-leveling the opposition, farming a lot better. And this time he's actually gone for a different build as well, into the Dynasty Plate Helm for the first item, recognizing that he might be the target in the future. But over in the mid lane, the Kraken's been released. Final Judgment off the mark. Kakutam's in a lot of trouble. Remember what I said about Susano having to get in deep? Well, it looks like that Whirlpool just did a ton of damage. It looked like very, very bad for Pavilion eSports there, because they were just overcommitting into something that was basically not doing much damage, and Vessel of Satan's healing is doing so well. Meanwhile, over in the left lane, a beautiful gank, 1-for-1. Thigh Savior is going to pick up Ninja Rex. He did manage to pick up Miklan, so the bait maybe wasn't there, but 1-for-1, and you put that kill onto your jungler, and we've seen what Thigh Savior was able to do. He was still doing very well despite the seemingly snowbally style of game in the last match, but still, nonetheless, very, very important to give your jungler that advantage. He has that 101 score line that if you let the Hunbots get ahead, he suddenly becomes very, very dangerous. Once he gets that Hydra's Lament online, a Hunbots is going to be doing so much damage, and you kind of want to slow that down as much as you can. Now, over on the left side, it looks like Miklan might be in a little bit of trouble because Malicious Intents around the back line. But the Heart Bomb was whiffed, and that's going to be a free escape for Miklan. A little bit of an unfortunate play from Ninja Rex. However, Chicken Thigh have a grouping up in the mid lane, and it looks like they might want to go in onto Vidrell, but Vidrell's going to smartly spot them out, having the ward coverage there, seeing that the Terra had moved away from the lane, knowing that she can't be too far away. Very, very smart cerebral play. And good ward clearing as well, as Pavilion has cleared up that ward on the right side mid with a sentry. So making sure you have appropriate vision control has been the name of the game, because every kill here so far has been a case of, oh, I didn't know he was there. Vessel of Satan going to get sunned out to no consequence there. But Miklan is winning the outpush onto Ninja Rex, and now he's a level up, and he's actually doing some serious damage. Ninja Rex is making a pretty big misjudgment here, but Kakutam is finally rotated in. Miklan, he's going to try and run away. In fact, the whole team is showing up, so he's just baiting. Thy Savior's here, fear no evil. Ninja Rex is in a lot of trouble. Down he goes. Banff credited with the kill. Vessel Satan's showing up. Banff actually gets the double kill. The Intoxicate's going to be trying to use for self-heal, but he hit the pull even while intoxicated. Malicious Intent gets pulled back. Final Judgment goes in, but it's not going to hit anybody. And Tripno's now going to be the new target. He's going to use the stun to peel for himself, but that's fine. 2-0 for Chicken Thigh. Jebaited. Very well done. Very, very, very strong advantage now for Chicken Thigh, and they're going to use that advantage to go for the Gold Fury. Having picked up the Oracles already, 5 men strong, it looks like Vigel, he wants to go in, and in fact, Pavilion's going to steal it. Tripno's going to get credit with a kill. It's not a Valve game. On the back line, he's also going to get Thy Savior, and that's going to be a little bit of a misplay from Chicken Thigh. They lose the Gold Fury. They get 2 deaths as well in response, and that went about as wrong as it could have. The Kraken was just a hair late, and that's not looking good at all for Chicken Thigh. Pretty big misplay in terms of the objective control, and I'm not sure if it had to do with the fact that they didn't see Vidrell incoming, but it was beautifully done from Vidrell in order to make sure they were all stunned out so that his team could get there in time to help steal that away. And in fact, Tripno's double kill is going to be very helpful for him getting caught up back to Banff. Now both mid laners 2-0 and 0. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it looks like there might be a little bit of aggression. Tripno, he's going to get pulled in. Thy Savior could have gone in onto that, but didn't exactly know where the enemies were, and it's a very, very good call because Kakutam, even though he's level 8, just hit 9. Correction, even though he's level 8, could still be doing quite a bit of damage to a level 10 mid laner. So, again, the story of this game is the fact that, well, we just didn't know they were there. Whether it's a question of wards, whether it's a question of not seeing a giant Guan unicorn riding in on a unicorn, we may not ever know. But now someone's flaring out 2 guys on the right side. This Guan Yu is definitely starting to look powerful. 002, but level 11 as a solo laner, and the solo laner can make such huge impacts with the rotation like we just saw on the Gold Fury. Everyone should be very careful from Chicken Thigh when that Guan Yu shows up to really change the focus. We have 2 healers in this game. We've got the Sylvanas, we've got the Guan Yu, and relatively speaking, the heals are roughly equal, so it's not necessarily about shutting down the heal or, you know, getting the damage on the right targets. It's more about playing it well and not a Valve game. He's caught out alone, and he surely can survive. But wait, the Kraken is here. It's off the mark. Coxutimes, he's going to be firing off the Typhoon, but it's only to self-peel. Final Judgment way off the mark. Malicious Intent's going to be using the Meditate to keep the jungler alive, but Tripno's going in. His team's already gone. What's going on? They want to go for the Portal Demon while the rest of the enemy team is still there. Bamf says hello. Here's a giant freaking circle, and Saviours going to pick up Tripno. Malicious Intent, he's going to try and run away. The Fire Giant even is going to be leashed, and for sure Pavilion can't commit to this. A missed pull from Vessel of Satan, but now that's a Portal Demon for Chicken Thigh, and it doesn't look like there's anything Pavilion can do to contest this. Meanwhile, on the left side, soloed is Ninja Rex by Miklan. Malicious Intent doesn't succeed in stealing this time. The Whirlpool from Banff has been so strong. It's this gigantic cripple that all of a sudden you can't rely on your escapes, and like I said, you have to really get up in their face. The denial is so good, and Banff is making the impact that a Poseidon should have, that we saw from the Poseidon of last game on the part of Tripno. Tripno's Thoth, he is doing well. He is getting the kills that he needs to, but it's not working out so well. Couchstam, he's caught out of position. You can't dash away from a Whirlpool. He's actually going to have to beat that in order to dash away. Huge win for Chicken Thigh. Couchstam has to be really, really careful in the next fight that comes out. So over on the red buff, Banff is actually going to be giving it away to Mictlan. Very, very nice. Whenever I'm playing ADC, I love my mid laner does that for me. Meanwhile, Vidrell, he's going to be trying to box it out 1v2. Not a Valve game, actually wants to commit to that. Half health for half health, but the rotation's coming in. And I think Chicken Thigh sees this and they're going to want to disengage. Instead, the rotation might come in towards the mid lane. Vessel of Satan, he's got to be very careful about his positioning, and Immobile Sylvanas has to really be careful. And it looks like they're actually just going to fight over the wards there on the right side. Brand new ward skin, by the way. Apollo Racer Rumble ward skin, whatever it is. It's a pretty nice ward skin, I'm not going to lie. Meanwhile, the ultimate out of not a Valve game to save his booty, because Vidrell got a little bit too much damage onto him over on the right side. And it looks like there's still lots of flares going on over on the right side. They want to start the fight. They want to invade some buffs, but Pavilion has nothing to take there. Mictlan, he's doing very well now. Like, he got the solo kill onto Ninja Rex earlier. I want to see him rotating more. I want to see him making an impact in the fight, because when you have such big circles like a Hou Yi ultimate, I mean, let's be real, whose brilliant idea was it to give a Hunter a Zeus ultimate, am I right? So I want to see Mictlan making more impact in the rest of this game. And in fact, that's going to be the case. He's rotating over towards Gold Fury, and he's going to ward it. AFK ward. Whew, Season 1 memories, but no, he's actually just going to back away. But Thy Savior, he actually sees Ninja Rex. He might want to go in. The Heart Bomb's going to discourage him. Ninja Rex, what are you doing? Why would you go in on this? He's going to have to use the beads to get out. Fear No Evil was burned, but that's okay for the beads, I'd say. Ninja Rex, he's going to have to back away until his team shows up, and Malicious Intent and Tripno do show their face, but the rotation from the rest of Chicken Thigh has come in as well. Vidrell has made the rotation. The solo laners have teleported in, both of them. Not a Valve game's shown up. Mictlan just whiffed that triple bounce, but it's fine because it looks like a disengage is coming through nonetheless. 5 men strong near the Gold Fury. having ward control, they might want to start it, but no, they might want to take the fight instead. Malicious Intent, he's very far forward, but so is Tripno. He's going to be caught out in the middle of his dash, beautifully body blocked by the pillar from Not a Valve Game. The Intoxicate goes through, the Wrath of Terra as well hits 3, the Kraken hits just 1. Ninja Rex is in a little bit of trouble, but the knockup from Malicious Intent is good. Ninja Rex is going to pick up Thy Savior in response. Vessel of Satan's going to go down to Kakutam as well. And it looks like things have turned around. Miklan is going to get a kill, though, onto Ninja Rex. Not a Valve Game is going to pick up Tripno, and Miklan's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to juke away, but Kakutam's got the double kill. 2 for 3, and it looks like that goes in the favor of Pavilion. So a little bit of a sloppy fight, and it was all about who grouped up more, who grouped up less, but also it came down to the fact that Thy Savior did not have his Fear No Evil, which could have made such a large impact in that fight. Not a Valve Game. He's going to save himself with a beautiful place wall from the 3 that wanted to chase him down, but in the end, Pavilion don't really get much more than the Oracles out of that, so not a huge loss for Chicken Thigh, and in fact, Bamf is able to secure his own red buff to minimize the losses, although it looks like they might pick up the purple as well. Indeed they do, but that is no problem whatsoever from Chicken Thigh. Basically, about as good as it could have gone for a bad fight. And that brings the gold back to even. It's 400 in the advantage of Pavilion. And in fact, the experience is still 600 in the advantage of Chicken Thigh. So for all intents and purposes, this game is just completely even. So everyone's going to be backing off, spending their gold. And Cupid, he's going in onto Miklan. Hold on 1 second. Ninja Rex, he's taking a lot of damage, but it looks like both hunters are going to disengage. And Cupid is building Runeforged. Runeforged. Enemies take 15% increased damage from you if they're affected by crowd control, not including knockbacks, blinds, or grabs. Very interesting, because Cupid's giant ultimate increasing damage by 15% is a very scary prospect, but maybe, I don't know, it would only make sense if he's going into crit, but he's already got Transcendence online. So, relatively strange there, but I question Runeforged on a Cupid. I really do question it. So, we'll see how that works out for him. I mean, he's 251 so far, and Miklan is 224. So we'll let that speak for itself. Actually, he's actually picked up the new Rage, which is that beautiful crit item whose new passive gives you additional crit strike chance for getting god kills or assists. So it's very good for crits on a Hou Yi. Some people might say building crits is questionable, but I like it personally. Kakutam, he's going in to Thy Savior. Actually going to take a lot of his health in response, but the ultimate was popped from the Terra Typhoon? Question mark. Miklan is going to take the poke commit, and that's about it. And it looks like, hold that thought, Tripno was charging it, but he was going to go for Final Judgment. I wanted to see that, personally, but Miklan's going to be zoned out by Ninja Rex. 5 men strong still from Pavilion there in the mid lane. Chicken Thigh, are they going to make something happen off the back end? Not a Valve Game. He's on the backside, and he's actually just fighting basically 1v4 in his own. Fear No Evil goes down. Kakutam Force sees the beast and the Aegis. The suns rain down from the heavens as Hou Yi has joined the fight, but the focus is now to Malicious Intent, and now, oh my goodness, the 2-man Kraken. Goodbye, Malicious Intent. You will not be missed. Bamf gets the killing spree onto the support. Very well played. Remember what I said before, it was about grouping up and counter-engaging, and that was beautifully done. Vidrell's going in once again onto the Gold Fury, but it's not like the level 8 fight this time. The whole team is ready. Not a Valve Game. He wants to go in. He's going to take a lot of damage out of Tripno, though. What a beautifully hit Ricochet onto Vidrell. He's not going to get very far, but wait. Ouch. That's going to hurt. That does a lot of damage to Thy Savior. Thanks to the Runeforged? I don't know about that. But all the relics are down, all the ultimates are down, and it doesn't look like anyone wants to continue the fight. But not a Valve Game. He's positioning very aggressively because his team is doing the Gold Fury, and Chicken Thigh do get it as well. And the ultimate pop from Not a Valve Game as well, just to make sure that the team can safely disengage. Very, very well played. And Chicken Thigh are going to, as a result of that Gold Fury, put themselves back up 1,500 gold and up in experience 2,400. Very well played from them. Poseidon is now 3-0-2. So impactful in that fight. When so much of Pavilion relies on their mobility, in terms of Vidrell having his slow only on his dash, in terms of having Kakutam rely on his movement abilities to do the damage that Susano has to do, in terms of having Tripno only get his stun off with his dash as well, Malicious Intent only being able to get his knockup off with his movement abilities. It's really so crucial that the cripple is shutting them down, and Gem of Isolation on Poseidon make sure that, hey, you are not going anywhere unless you use your beads on my Whirlpool, and that's what's been happening. If Thy Savior can get more beads off of his Fear No Evil, the Poseidon will be even more impactful in these team fights, and Chicken Thigh are definitely turning things around from last game, and they've realized what needs to change in their team fights for them to go even better. And now we see here the Susano has picked up the Brawler's Beat Stick, which is so important to counter the Sylvanas healing. For Pavilion, it's really important to shut that down. There's no anti-healing items up from Chicken Thigh, so the Guan Yu is going to be so impactful. And it's going to come down to whether or not Vidrell, well, I mean, it's about the lesser of two evils. Is Vidrell going to group up with his team and give him heals, or is he going to try and keep people on their own so that the gigantic AoE abilities don't do so much in these team fights? It's really hard when you have such a counter-engage heavy team like the composition that's been drafted out of Chicken Thigh, and it's really showing that they're basically getting punished for it every time it happens. Meanwhile, Bamf's gonna pick up Kaksutam in the mid lane, a little bit of an overextension from Susano when the whole team was there. Tripno, he's gonna get Fear No Evil, he's gonna use the Beast, but he isn't gonna survive anyway. Thy Savior gets credited for the kill. Vidrell's in 1v4, he's not gonna be able to do too much to get away, and he's gonna get knocked up. Malicious Intent is shown up, Thy Savior is gonna back up, but he'll be just fine. Not a Valve game. He wants Vidrell real bad, but he doesn't need to chase too hard for that. Ninja Rex, nowhere to be found, means that it looks like Chicken Thigh want to actually keep going and engaging on the middle tower, and the healing from Sylvanas is very important. Thy Savior, he's going to heal up very nicely. Tier 1 tower falls. Chicken Thigh finally getting a very definitive advantage, and you can see now on the gold difference, 2,600 for them. That's going to be equal to about 2 tiers of an item. They're going to go for that Portal Demon as well, and they also confirm it. Malicious Intent, they might just turn and burn him, and in fact, no, the call is to disengage. A very good call in my opinion. Take what you have, spend that gold, make sure you actually are up those 2 tiers of an item. We're going to be seeing what Chicken Thigh pick up as they back to the base now. It looks like we're going into Spear of the Magus for Bamf, which is a very good call. Hunbatsu is making his way. He's got Masamune now, and he's making his way into what I believe this is going to be a stone-cutting sword. Gauntlet of Thebes is picked up as well by the Sylvanas, which is a very, very good item, giving the extra protections. Hold that thought, though. The ultimates are going, and it looks like there's a lot of damage going on to Thy Savior. The Typhoon is fired away by Kaksutam, but Vessel of Satan's finally arrived. The tier 1 tower falls, but a 4-man Kraken, and Miklan has shown up on the back line as well. Malicious Intent isn't getting out of this one. Miklan credited for that kill. Kaksutam, he's gonna fall shortly after Vidrell is taken out by Thy Savior. Hold that thought. Ninja Rex, he's gonna try and escape downstage right. Kaksutam being a very mobile Susano, slippery, he's gonna get away, but Thy Savior, he's gonna be content with a blue buff instead of a kill, and the tier 1 tower is gonna fall in response for Chicken Thigh Savior. So if anything, it's an equal trade in the right side, but more importantly, the 2 kills that Chicken Thigh got allow them to continue to pressure, and in fact, they're gonna go straight for the tier 2. So much healing out of the Terra and Sylvanas, they have no problem staying. The Final Judgment completely chunks out Thy Savior, but it's no matter. The tier 2 tower falls regardless, and Chicken Thigh, they want to go in. Ninja Rex takes a lot of damage, but he's going to just back away. 5,900 gold now and 7,800 XP for Chicken Thigh, and they're looking like a completely different team after game 1. Very well played. All these engages are extremely smart, and I think the most important thing in that fight was that Ninja Rex wasn't there for the control until it was far too late, until after the Fear No Evil had been set off. And so what you had was essentially a very good counter engage, and when that's the point of the draft from Chicken Thigh, you really can't afford to lose your engage off of that. What Pavilion need to do is basically play around it, bait out the abilities and ultimates, and have a safe disengage from the counter engage, and then their next engage will be very good after all. Vidrell has shown around the Gold Fury earlier in the game how they can make such a good difference in terms of this game. Vessel of Satan's going to see that Pavilion is looking to do the gold fury, but there's nothing really he can do to stop them. Pavilion do get it, a little bit of a misplay, but Vessel of Satan can't catch anyone on the retreat, so any small consolation prize for Pavilion, I guess it works out for them. But now Chicken Thigh Saviours, they're angry, and they're going to look to barrel down. No, they're just going to go straight for the Fire Giant. And it looks like almost nobody's there until we see Malicious Intent has shown up. Very, very quickly burning it down. Are they going to full commit onto this? It's very low now. 20% HP. The Typhoon, it's off the mark. Hold on. It looks like Pavilion is going to steal the Fire Giant, but a beautiful Ricochet is going to burst Malicious Intent, but Tripno gets a double kill with the Divine Judgment, and it looks like Not a Valve Game is running for his life here. Very well played. Pavilion are actually going to steal that, and that was so important. The engage is so strong, and poor Vessel of Satan is going to jump to his death. Tripno on the killing spree. Banff is going to exit to the left side with not a Valve Game and get away safely, but huge misplay. Again, lack of objective control from Chicken Thigh, and it's really coming to bite them in the butt as Pavilion are going to be able to secure this tier 2 tower on the right-hand side. And there will be respawns in time, perhaps, to save this Phoenix if there's enough good CC out of Not a Valve Game, but he's actually whiffed it. Are they going to go for the kills or the Phoenix, though? And it looks like they're going to go for the Phoenix, and the respawns aren't going to be in time. Down goes the right Phoenix. Very good play from Pavilion to go full gas pedal to punish for the poor objective control out of Chicken Thigh. So this is the play that they needed to make the comeback. It was all about playing around that counter engage and understanding that when things are down, there's nothing you can really do to stop them from taking all these objectives, and thus the tier 1 tower in middle falls as well. And it looks like they might just go for red buff if it were up, but of course they'll take oracles, they'll take whatever they can get at this point. The gold difference is now dead even. And the XP difference, only 2,000 in the favor of Chicken Thigh, which is starting to matter a little bit less as our players are about to hit level 20. 27 minutes into the game. Cupid is actually going into... So after a Kaival 5th item, is now into the Crusher. Okay. The Pestilence for the anti-heal on the Bacchus is going to be so strong in terms of these fights, especially considering how impactful Terra's healing has been with the Rod of Asclepius. And what's interesting to note is that Tripno is committed to his Doom Orb, and he's not dying anymore, so he's doing a lot of damage. Poseidon has picked up Divine Rune, and he has a scoreline 404 not found in terms of being able to shut him down, and he is the sole, I guess, swing factor in these fights. It's all about these Poseidon Krakens and their impact in terms of the Whirlpool. It's just so important that he's hitting those, because that really is what makes the difference. And you can see on the player damage charts, he's up there, 19,000 at the very top. So it's really all about what he can do for his team. Now it looks like Pavilion want to pressure up the tier 2 on the left-hand side, and they're going to be taking it away for free. Still having Fire Giant for about a minute longer. They're going to see what they can do next. Looking around the map, it looks like they want to pressure tier 2 and mid, and this one is what Chicken Thigh wants to defend. Not a Valve Game is going to be looking to frontline. Vessel of Satan misses the pull onto Ninja Rex, but this tier 2 tower might be falling very quickly, because look on the back side. Over on the right, we have Kaxutam. He's going to be going in from the bottom. He's going to be using a Typhoon. He's not going to pick anybody up with it, though, because this was seen. Actually, he's going to have to be forced to run away, but that's okay. It was just a diversion, because now... Whoa! No, it's going to be off the mark, but Thy Savior falls anyway to Tripno. But the Kraken! Miclan gets a kill! So does Not a Valve Game. Tripno's all of a sudden going to run for his life. Kaxutam, he's going to fall. Not a Valve Game picks up Tripno. In fact, Kaxutam just barely gets out. But the Titan is under attack. The Fire Minions are pouring into the right-hand side, and it doesn't look like Chicken Thigh can do too much chase when it comes down to it, because these Fire Minions are going to hurt. Well, they are actually going to send Not a Valve Game back into the base to defend against the Fire Minions while they do push down the mid lane, get that tier 2 tower in middle. To counter the tier 2 tower that was taken before, and thus evening the gold out once again. Well, not exactly evening, but bringing it back down to 1,000 difference, which is essentially no difference at all. And in fact, it looks like the gold difference is going to be making about no difference as we finish up the builds. We have Hoodbots finished up on the Heartseeker. We have Poseidon, who's almost about to finish, it looks like what will be a Fatalis, and he's 407. So it's extremely strong in attack. Vidrell, he's going in. What was this about? Objective control. Chicken Thigh doesn't want any more of that stealing business going on. It's happened to them twice, and they're going to get that gold Fury, which is very important for the Poseidon who wants to finish the build, looking at the golden hand and everything. Meanwhile, the left Phoenix, or rather the solo lane side Phoenix, has respawned for Chicken Thigh thanks to not a valve game, pushing out those fire minions. He's doing a bit of damage on the Terra. That's a Void Stone, you know. And it looks like Portal is going to be picked up for free by Pavilion in an answer to the Gold Fury being done. But Fire Giant for sure cannot be attempted as Chicken Thigh is about to show up 5 men strong. And in fact, they're backing. Pavilion are backing and planning on taking the Portal, but Chicken Thigh could set up an ambush on it. Looks like Vidrell is going to be going in, and he's run into a little bit of a trap. But they're not actually going to commit to the full ambush. Okay. Tripno, he's going to get stunned out, and he's got to be very careful about his positioning because he can get bursted quite quickly if he's not careful. Vidrell is actually going to take quite a bit of damage from the Fire Giant as well, although he can heal it up. He's just a Guan Yu. But Kaksutam, he's actually going to have his Magi's Blessing popped as a result of a beautiful wall placement out of not a valve game, and Susano has been going to the back line, and if Chicken Thigh find the capacity to turn and burn, it looks like the fight doesn't go well for Pavilion at all because of their counter engage. Vidrell gonna get rooted out. Malicious Intent does not have the Magi's popped as Ricochet was just out of range. Tripno, however, is going to get stunned by the same thing that pops Magi's Blessing. Vidrell's going to be going in, but he's going in all alone. It looks like the counter engage is now in full swing here. Kaksutam fires off the Typhoon. It hits 3, but to no avail. The Fear No Evil combined with the Sunbreaker. 2 beats, 2 Aegises, and Malicious Intent. And Vidrell are going to get destroyed by the Kraken. Miklan gets the credit for Malicious Intent. The final judgment from Tripno is only going to hit 1, and down he goes. Miklan gets a double kill. Meanwhile, Bamf is on a rampage as he picks up Vidrell. Thy Savior has been going one-on-one with Ninja Rex, but he doesn't mind because he can just go right in. Ninja Rex is going to be using the hearts to try and keep himself alive, but 3-0 for Chicken Thigh, and they're just going to go full gas pedal in the mid lane. Who needs Fire Giant when you know the respawn timers are 40 seconds long? They're going down mid lane, barreling in. They want the Phoenix, and they're going to go straight for it here. The Phoenix cannot last too long as Miklan's got all the penetration he needs. The Deathbringer was so good for him in that fight. He just completely chunked out that Thoth from half health in just 2 basics. And with that attack speed coming out from Executioner and from Kaival and Asi and everything, he's totally fine in getting those basics, and he's hitting every single one. And now, it looks like they're going to start the Fire Giant. Having got that middle Phoenix, very good positioning from Not a Valve game. This time, they want to secure their own objectives, and they do. Chicken Thigh get the Fire Giant, and it looks like they're going to go in onto Cupid. No, they were just flaring him out, but they don't mind. They're going to fall back, spend their gold, finish the builds for the players that it is applicable for. Terra's going to full out buy a Spirit Robe. We've got a Mantle of Discord coming online for Sylvanas. We've got a Pestilence as well. We've got Short Sword. He's going to be going into Deathbringer on Hoodbots, and I love it. Spicy, spicy. Just whoop, bam. 2 abilities and you die. The Phoenixes are getting flared out, and it looks like Chicken Thigh want to go in down the left lane. Grouping up on the left-hand side. Time to clear a couple waves. Last bit of farm getting in, I guess, for Pavilion, if they really want. But it's just going to be a speed buff, really, because there isn't much more to get before they're forced to stand at their tier 2 tower. And in fact, if I were Pavilion, I would probably even concede that tier 2 tower. And in fact, that is indeed what they do. So Chicken Thigh are going to pick themselves up yet another objective, and they're looking down at the left-hand Phoenix. All 5 members of Pavilion are alive to defend, but Tripno's got a red buff, Malicious Intent. He's going to go in, but he's going to hold that thought. Kakustan fires up the Typhoon, not a Valve game. He's in really deep underneath there. He's going to try and keep himself alive. The Kraken is doing well. Vidrell, he wants it. He's going in deep, and he's not going to be able to pick him up. He's just not got the damage, and Banth is going to be credited with the kill. A beautiful 4-man knockup out of the Sylvanas, and Malicious Intent is running for his life as Miklan's got a double kill onto Kakustan and Ninja Rex. Malicious Intent exits stage right. Tripno falls down to Thigh Savior, and it looks like this could be the game. The left Phoenix is getting bursted down, and now the Titan is under attack. With only Bacchus left to defend, there's not much he can do. Down he goes. There are no survivors. D aside, wipe out. Thigh Savior gets the final kill into Malicious Intent, and Chicken Thigh tie it up 1-1 in our set. Very well done. GG, well played. And that is going to be it for this game, but stick around. We've got ourselves a tournament up and coming very soon. Is it not today? I didn't check the schedule. I'm not gonna lie, but nonetheless, we've seen some incredible Smite today. And if you want to see more, of course, you can be sure to follow the stream and stuff. I'll give you word in Twitch chat in just a moment when I can verify whether or not we are going to be casting this tournament now or tomorrow or something. But until then, I've been E-Man F-Man, and the lovely Majin Kotetsu has been on the camera for us, and it has been a pleasure, as always, to be able to cast these wonderful games for you guys. We've got all kinds of incredible talent on these Smite teams that are part of our league. You can join the league too, and you can find all the information for that, I believe, in the stream description. So, until then, I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.